Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox, and we are finally back in the studio again. My wife's feeling a little bit better. She's actually managed to go downstairs. Not going to work today, of course, but feeling much better. So I decided I will decamp into my usual space. Now, I'm not even going to mention the English football match that occurred last night. What an appalling performance. I will say I do feel sorry for those England fans who right at the end decided, you know what, this isn't worth it, and left early. Sucks, doesn't it? But anyway, enough of that. SNP ministers have been told by the big supermarkets in Scotland that their plans to increase taxes will cause some of them to close or lose staff, and undoubtedly either way will put up prices of food and other stuff for the people of Scotland, because, you know, companies don't pay tax. They simply collect it. And if the SNP government are going to put a tax on a supermarket, that supermarket will pass that tax on to the consumers. And so they're saying, don't do it, scrap it, get rid of it. And of course, they're quite right. So we'll take a look at what's going on and why Shona Robison has had yet another terrible idea in a whole plethora of terrible ideas. Here goes. So, SNP ministers slated by supermarkets who warn of impending closures if plans for more taxes are not scrapped, because taxes reduce competitiveness. Taxes mean people are poorer. And the SNP will sit there and go, oh, look at us, we're making those rich supermarkets pay more in tax. And the answer is, no, you're not. You're making rich supermarkets put the prices up so that people are poorer. Because the supermarket does not pay the tax. The customer does. But of course, she is too dumb to realise that. Shona Robison is a woman who should be basically removed from government for everybody's benefit. You cannot have a woman with an IQ of 57 being in charge. I mean, literally, she is absolutely dumb as custard, isn't she? The likes of Asda, Tesco and Sainsbury's warned the Scottish Government that if they go ahead with more taxes, like one on selling alcohol and tobacco, then shops will close throughout the country, and John Lewis Waitrose may even pull out of Scotland altogether. Now, what they're saying is any supermarket that sells alcohol and tobacco will have a tax put on it. But they're not going to put the tax onto alcohol, because the minimum levy, the minimum unit pricing on alcohol is sufficient. It gives them a massive profit. So why would they reduce the profit that they're making, which is a free profit? It doesn't cost, it's regardless of the cost of the alcohol, because it's the differential between what it costs, what they sell it for, and the minimum unit. That extra is pure profit. There's no overhead for it. So what they'll do is they'll be faced with, oh, we've got to find £20,000 a month in extra tax. That's fine. We'll just put it onto cheese, beans, bread. Penny here, tuppence there. The consumer pays more. And that way, they maintain their profit on all their food to cover the tax. And they're still making that big profit on the alcohol. When you get a woman as stupid as Shona Robinson and you allow her to make decisions, you always know it's going to end disastrously. The Scottish Government has been warned by leading supermarkets that any extra tax cash grabs could lead to shop closures and substantial job losses. I don't think it will. I think it will put prices up. The SNP ministers were told it is already more expensive to run stores in Scotland than the rest of the United Kingdom. Finance Secretary Shona Robison provoked anger in the retail sector after outlining proposals for a new public health levy on big shops selling alcohol and tobacco. Now look, see the way they're pushing it. It's a health levy. Look how we're trying to protect you. Look at this. That's the cover. What they're saying is, we've screwed up the economy so badly, we need to keep creating new and diverse taxes so we can get money coming in to cover the huge financial black hole we have due to us being complete and utter morons and not understanding how the economy works. But we'll have to dress it up. We'll call it a health levy, but it is no such thing. It's a tax on food. It's a food tax. The reaction has been overly negative, and in a huge summit between Robison, The then Wellbeing Economy Secretary Neil Gray, Public Finance Minister Tom Arthur, and the country's leading supermarkets back in February, they were told that any more regulations or taxes could lead to retail Armageddon. Now, imagine you've got an area, and let's say it's a low-income area, it's a struggling area, and there is a local supermarket. Pick one at random, Asda, right? And there's a local Asda. That is the supermarket in that area. And then they put this on Asda to say, you know what, it's just not worth it. And they close that supermarket. And no other supermarket will rush to fill the gap because it's just not worth it for them, not in a low economy area. And so you're going to have this huge swathe of area of people with no access to a supermarket. Not locally. And so what do? Well, they're resorting to corner shops, which are horrendously expensive, or travelling out of the area, and thus increasing car use. Oh, you see, this is the trouble with the SNP. There's no grown-up thinking and there's no connected thinking. Jamie Cohen, Director of Estates Management and Investments at Sainsbury's, was the most damning in his criticism. In minutes from the meeting acquired through the Freedom of Information legislation, he stated that a surtax would have to translate into greater costs for customers, the alternative being to stop investing in stores or their staff, which would lead to store closures. They will put prices up. It's as simple as that. And then they'll say, this is why. The SNP government. Look to the SNP government. Food is more expensive in Scotland because of the SNP government and their insistence on taxing food. He highlighted the already huge pressure on stores that are performing less well than others, of which he added there are a good number in Scotland. It is already more expensive to run shops in Scotland than elsewhere in the UK, he said, and the levy would only add to this. And he concluded the impact would have to be on the customer, either through higher prices or lesser choice, and if businesses were not to be able to continue trading. Lucy Brown of Waitrose pointed out that retailers were seen as cash cows by government, and that if a public health levy was introduced, it may impact on their ability to trade in Scotland. In other words, if you put this in, Waitrose and John Lewis just pull out of Scotland. It's just not worth their time. And who can blame them? You go into business to make money, not to become the cash cow to a stupid bunch of morons who haven't got a clue what they're doing. Andrew Weston, representing the co-op, stated that any additional tax burden would have to mean some hard analysis about the viability of some sites. Again, the co-op closing down, and who can blame them? That said, though, the coal is more expensive than Waitrose. But there she is, look, Shona Robison. I'm sitting here, but I don't know what I'm doing. Moron. Coming up. I do actually think that there's something physically wrong with Shona Robison. I know, she is definitely IQ low, isn't she? Her IQ is very low. No, I think I called her 87 in the piece. Normally I call her 86, because that is rather generous appraisal of her IQ. I think she has got a condition. I believe, I don't know, but I believe she's got translocation Down syndrome. I seriously do. Just look in the eyes. I think it's there. And this has an effect of lowering the IQ. And that's not good in someone who is running your economy. And I would presume somebody who's running the economy needs to be sharp, needs to be intelligent, needs to be quick, needs to understand consequences, needs to have heard of the Laffer curve, needs to be able to count at least. These are not things that Shona Robison is capable of. Anyway, I'll end that there. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think. Leave a message. Hit the subscribe button if you are yet to do so. Hit the like button, definitely. And if you are yet to, please go across to my other channel, David Coulter, Holyrood 26. Subscribe, and there'll be a couple of videos a week on there as well, so keep up with the news on that one. Anyway, we'll draw that one off. Thank you very much. Take care, and goodbye.